What is up, Discovery Student Ministries? Happy Wednesday.
What?
That's right. President's Day just happened.
Yeah, it did.
I hope you guys had a pleasant time celebrating the presidents of the past.
What is like the official celebration of President's Day?
A day off of school.
I feel like it should be like you eat a bald eagle on an American flag tablecloth or something.
Bro, bald eagles are protected.
I know, but that's why I said it should be, not what you do.
Wait, I have an idea.
Yeah.
It's game time. All right, we are back. Yeah, it's game time because of President's Day. We're playing Is It True President's Day edition. So what's going to happen is we have to guess whether these facts about presidents for President's Day are true or false. We're going to do thumbs up true, thumbs down false.
But Matt, we're playing together.
You
right?
are competing against us.
Now, Matthew, did anybody tell you they won last week?
Oh,
we got to give them a shout out. Bet.
But because it was 2 weeks ago, I totally forgot. Yeah, we got worked by a few people. Let me see if I can find who destroyed us.
Oh man, probably everybody. Whatever, it's okay. I'm not salty.
No, my group definitely lost.
Right? This was with pizza night?
This is the pizza one.
Guys, I'll tell you this while Matt is looking that up. Yesterday, we were recording some other stuff in here, and I found a pizza crust on the floor from 2 weeks ago. It was so disturbing.
Do you remember how many we got right?
4. No. 7. No, I don't know.
5.
Dude, you were asking me to really think back.
I know, 4, 5. All right. Shout out to the juniors and seniors boys. So the upper high school boys group. Maybe sophomores in there too. I don't know. Math is hard. Y'all got 6 right. Well done.
Wow, that's great.
Because I think we only got 4 or 5.
I was going to say, I thought it was like 4. We started off real strong, and then I think we just kind of...
Also, huge shout out to the Cozy Crew. Those are the middle school girls who got 7 right.
Holy cow. Good job,
and
guys.
I think
because they guessed right about the mayonnaise on the pizza.
Why would they? All right.
And
you know
we
what?
missed it.
Congratulations. I think those are the only 2 groups who let me know. So well done.
Good job, guys.
High school boys and Cozy Crew.
Cozy Crew.
But you're not beating us this time. Let's get right into it. First
right.
question. Is it true President John Tyler has the record for the president with the most kids? Discuss. All right, Nathan, what are we going to go with?
True. We are guessing yes. He had like 17.
Guessing yesin.
Yesin.
15 kids, but it's a yes.
We were
get
close.
The point.
What?
All right, question 2. Is it true President Theodore Teddy Roosevelt was the first president to make an address over the radio in 1908? Yes or no? Discuss. Okay.
All right, this is a tough one.
This is a tough one. We don't really know.
We don't really know.
But I'm just going to go.
Okay,
with
I trust you, Matt. Let's go.
We're going to say the answer is no because we think the first address actually happened prior to that.
Yes.
Whoa, later.
But it was later.
1922. Okay.
Wow.
But we still get the point.
Hey, doesn't matter how we got there. All that matters is where we landed.
Question 3. Is it true President Harry S. Truman was the first president to appear on the television in 1946? All right, Nathan, what are we going with?
We're going to go with yes. We think that's about right for TV. FDR in 39.
Way to go, FDR.
Delano Roosevelt. Oh, all right, that's okay. We got this. We got this.
Question 4. Is it true President Billy Clinton was the first commander-in-chief to send an email while in office? Discuss.
All right, this one's a little bit tough.
Yes, it
Matt,
is.
what do you think on this one?
We're going with no. We think it was a little bit earlier than Bill
That was our
Clinton's
last
time
thought, too, was
in
no
office.
earlier. And yes, he sent out the email in 94. I mean, yeah. But they
feels-
had email in the
tech
80s.
existed.
So why wouldn't the
Previous
other ones use
presidents
it?
were just like, this
No,
is the
I don't
dumbest
trust
thing
it.
I've ever heard.
I don't trust
it's
it.
not
I need
secure.
to. It's not secure enough yet. It could be.
See, but I would have just sent like an email to my wife, being like, "Hey, honey, what's
Right.
for dinner?"
And maybe, well, she wouldn't have gotten it.
Because she would have had email also.
Yeah.
Boo.
All
We
right.
got 2 in a row wrong, so let's get back on track with this question. Is it true President William Henry Harrison was the president who served the shortest time in office? So Nathan,
Oh, yeah.
this shows the value potentially of high quality cartoons.
Hopefully.
Because what helped you process this was
Yeah.
the Animaniacs. So what are we going with?
I was singing to the Animaniacs song, and there's a line that goes, "That guy was dead in 30 days." And that made me remember there was a president who got sick during his inauguration speech after 30 days. And so then I was trying to sing the song in my head, and I believe it was Rutherford B. Hayes. That guy was dead in 30 days. So we're going to say, no, it's not Harrison because it's Rutherford B. Hayes. No! Well, at least I got the details right, but it was Harrison. Sorry, the song didn't help me. It kind of did, but it also didn't. How does Harrison rhyme with guy was dead in 30 days? Listen to that song, and we're going to figure this out together. We're really not knowing our presidents. All right, well.
William Harrison, how do you praise that guy was dead in 30 days?
Is it true President Ronald Reagan was the oldest ever person to be elected president?
Discuss. All right, we are back, and I guess
Yeah.
this all depends on when this game was made. But
Yeah, as long as it wasn't made prior to like 2016, because Trump set the record for oldest.
believe
we know
so.
that, and Biden obviously is the oldest, I think, person living right now, right? As president of the United States.
Yes,
So
to both,
we're going
yes.
with no.
I did thumbs up, but I have to say no because yes,
Hey,
Joe
Joe
Biden,
Biden.
78. So
It's pretty good.
that means
It's pretty good.
if he wins again, he'll be 82. How math
That's how
works.
math works, just 4 years later. All right, next question. Is it true the youngest ever person to
Oh.
assume the presidency was the JFK at 43 years?
Discuss.
All right. We had a little bit of question of was it this guy or another president, but
Yep.
Nathan, what did we settle on?
We're gonna say yes. He was the youngest. We're really bad. 42 after the assassination of President William McKinley.
Right.
But see, he didn't get elected. He just
That-
he got into a technicality, so I never count him.
Well, we're gonna have to because apparently he was
I'm
legitimately
just
a president.
kidding.
We are bad at this, but here we
Wow.
go. Is it true President James Buchanan is the only president to never get married? Discuss.
All right, we're back.
We are.
We're gonna say that's true.
I think so.
We
Yeah,
think it's
we're
we think
saying
it's
yes.
true. He was a yes. He was 65, committed
Wow.
bachelor.
That's right.
Good for him.
Next question.
Yeah.
Is it true President Bill Clinton was the first president to be impeached? Discuss. All right, we're back.
We're back.
This is an interesting
This is a
one.
tricky one.
Because the question is, what is impeachment mean?
Right, because we think impeach means get kicked out.
Right,
But that just means
doesn't.
found guilty of something,
Yeah.
right? And then they decide if you want to be removed from office or not.
If you want to be.
If you want to be removed, they say, okay.
Bill, how you feeling right now?
Hi.
Do you want to be removed? Do you like what you're doing? You happy here? What are we going with?
We are going with no, it's not true. I think somebody in the 1800s was also impeached.
It was Andrew Johnson.
1868.
You nailed that one, Nathan. Thank you.
Sometimes I know my history and sometimes I don't.
It's like almond joy. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
Yes.
All right. Is it true President Thomas Jefferson was the first president to live in the White House? Discuss.
All right, we're back.
We're back.
What do you think, Matt? TJ?
We're going to say TJ was indeed the first.
No,
because
President John Adams. Hey, when I was,
yeah.
I got that part from the song. Thank you.
Next question. Wait, that was the last question.
That was the last question?
That was the last question.
Wow.
We did terrible.
But you know what? They're always saying you young kids don't know anything about the history of our country. Maybe
Neither
that'll
do us old kids.
Maybe that will benefit us.
Yeah. Hey, let us know if you beat us, and you'll get a shout out next week and a special treat. So those two groups that we just shouted out, you guys have your special stuff this time around. So
Razzle dazzle.
Put on the old razzle dazzle. Man, I was about to say I'm gonna go do some study up on presidents, but no, I'm not. Nope. An election's happening this year, so I'll know who's president next
By the time
around.
this airs. Just kidding.
We'll be right back. Tonight, we're going to be talking about depression. Being as no two cases of depression, or any mental illness for that matter, are the same, there are no two cases in which the onset of symptoms are for the same reason. Now, if I'm honest, I remember moments of like drastic mood swings when I was younger, but I would have never thought anything of them. I also remember clearly at least a few instances of being terrified that I was actually dying, accompanied by chest pains and difficulty breathing. I know now there were panic attacks, but these symptoms alone aren't necessarily a sign of mental illness. So it's important to note that depression feels different for different people. Like no one has all the same symptoms. For you, maybe it feels like this constant state of grief, or where maybe your appetite is inconsistent, or your brain is foggy and you're exhausted and unable to sleep through the night. Maybe it feels like your heart always feels broken, or you never feel like you're good enough, right? That your friends can't actually like you, that they're just humoring you by being kind to you. There's even times when you might be having a great time and spontaneously feel sad or numb or unable to enjoy yourself. It's feeling everything or nothing. As we get into it tonight, it's important to define the terms we'll be using so you can rightly understand what's being discussed. Sometimes a reactive depression, where you feel deep sadness or melancholy, can occur after trauma, the loss of a loved one, or some other event. That is depression out of grief, and it lasts for a finite period. While these moments are important and those feelings are important and valid, this isn't really what we're discussing tonight. Depression is grief out of proportion to a circumstance. We're talking about depressive disorders, which, while they ebb and flow, do not just go away. It's caused by one's brain and a deficiency in your neurotransmitters. When someone has depression or depressive disorder, these feelings happen randomly at any time. These feelings can last a long time and be so severe that they inhibit a person's ability to function normally. This is what we mean when we're talking about depression tonight. Secondly, it's important to note that having depression isn't a sin. In the first week, it was made clear that mental health issues are not sin-related at all. But just in case you missed it, having depression is not a sin. It's not a sign of God's anger with you. It is a medical condition like other physical illnesses. So sayings like too blessed to be depressed are too absurd to be heard. I've heard that said before. It's kind of cheesy, I know. But here's the thing, you're created in God's image, right? Hand woven by God. And so if the brain you were born with isn't producing enough chemicals leading to depression, that's not a sin issue, that's a health issue. Now, from a biblical perspective, we have to be careful not to take modern diagnoses and personality tests and attribute them to biblical characters, right? Like what we can do is we see that some people in the Bible experienced what you experience. Did you know that Jesus actually experienced deep, prolonged sorrow? Isaiah 53:3 says, "He was despised and rejected, a man of sorrows, acquainted with deepest grief. We turned our backs on him and looked the other way. He was despised and we did not care." Now, this verse is from the Old Testament, but it was looking forward to what the life of the Messiah, God in the flesh, would be like. Jesus would be a man of sorrows, acquainted with the deepest grief. And when it says that he was a man of sorrows, it means that he would suffer mental pain and anguish. Now, some of you can really relate to that. When it says that he was acquainted with deepest grief, the word grief means a sickness or a disease characterized by anxiety and calamity. Does that sound familiar for you? Whether it was throughout his earthly life or not, the Bible tells us that Jesus would and did experience pain mentally, anguish, even sickness associated with that mental pain. Now, why is this important? Well, it reiterates the fact that this can't possibly be related to sin, right? It lets you know that you're not alone, that you're seen, that you're understood, right? Jesus gets you. He walked in your shoes. Like, how much must he care for you, being fully aware of what you feel? And not only does he care, but he's close. The tricky thing about depression is that it's one of the most compelling liars we will ever face. And unfortunately, depression becomes comfortable, and so it's easy to believe the lies. It lies about your values, about your prospects, about how much you're loved. It tells you depression is a tunnel with no light and you should just give up. It'll also lie about how much you're loved and valued by God. God doesn't not love you because you're hurting. In fact, it's quite the opposite. He draws close to you when you're hurting. In Psalm chapter 34, it says, "The eyes of the Lord watch over those who do right. His ears are open to their cries for help. The Lord hears his people when they call to him for help. He rescues them from their troubles. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted, and he rescues those whose spirits are crushed." The Lord, of course, knows your deep hurt. He knows your innermost thoughts. So he doesn't need you to cry out to him to know how you're feeling. God doesn't count it as whining. Crying out to him acknowledges our need to him. He doesn't want us to try and ignore it. When nothing else is good enough, we can find sufficiency in him. And our faith in praying to him shows that we need him. He's our Father, able to provide rescue for us in increments when and where we need it, if not all at once. Proverbs 18:14 says, "The human spirit can endure a sick body, but who can bear a crushed spirit?" And our brains are so complicated, not even those who have spent their lives studying them fully understand them. This isn't an issue man can help heal. We can only manage and care for it. God's desire is for restoration for us in our bad health in terms of our minds. He's the only one who can help us bear our crushed spirit, whether or not we recognize it. God brings any and all healing that we receive. And so I want to give you some practical thoughts and steps you can take if you feel like you might be struggling with depression. The first one is this: get help. The first step is being diagnosed, right? Not all mental illnesses are the same. Not even all depressive disorders are the same. So see a professional counselor. It's a great way to allow someone to help you, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. Second, be open. You have to admit to yourself that you actually need that help, right? Share your burden with someone you trust. Pray that God would lead you to someone and he would prepare their heart for you. Third, cry out to God. I know sometimes you'll feel ashamed, like maybe God is mad at you, and so you're going to be tempted to avoid him, but that's the last thing you should do. 1 Peter 5:7 reminds us, cast all your cares on him, for he cares for you, right? Your pain isn't trivial to him. If it matters to you, it matters to him because you matter to him. And fourth, don't withdraw. Sometimes depression is going to tell you that you don't need people, But God never intended us to be alone, especially in times of extreme hurt. Depression also will tell you that no one cares, that you're not worth anyone's time or love. Don't believe it. Sometimes your mind in solitude can be quite dangerous. And then fifth, you guys, look up. It can be hard to hope, right? You're gonna feel like there is no hope, but your feelings will try to mislead you. Remind yourself of what is true. You guys remember Jeremiah, the Old Testament prophet. He also wrote Lamentations, and he understood pain and anguish. He was known as the weeping prophet. And yet in his anguish in Lamentations chapter 3, he says, "This I recall to my mind, therefore I have hope. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness." It's so hard to remember sometimes when you're in your darkest moments to look up. When you feel like you don't have enough strength for another day, he does, and his mercies renew every day for you. Now, this message isn't just for those who struggle, it's for those that don't, because we are one family and one body, and we're supposed to care for each other. So here's some steps you can take if you have a friend who's struggling. First, help carry the burden. People with mental health struggles are carrying a burden, but they shouldn't have to do it alone. We get to be involved in that. Galatians 6:2 says, "Share each other's burdens, and in this way obey the law of Christ." The law of Christ is to love God with all you have and to love your neighbor as yourself. And you fulfill that when you see someone weighed down by a burden and you help them. You can be the reason that person feels seen and valued and supported. Second, be faithful. Right? When someone comes to you and they share their big pain, they've taken a huge risk. They put trust in you. You might be the only person that they've told, and so don't break that trust, right? Don't let them down. Pray for them. Send them texts to let them know you're praying for them. See how they're doing. Be a faithful friend by letting them know you're there and you really care. And third, you also need to look up, right? Don't let the distractions of this world keep you from loving someone. Again, be the reason someone feels loved and supported and seen. Keep your eyes open for the hurting. Ask God to reveal to you whom you need to encourage, and really listen to what he says. You guys just spend some time in your groups tonight talking a little bit more about this, but seriously, if you are struggling with this, seek help. If you know someone who's struggling, help them. And in doing so, we fulfill God's commands to carry each other's burdens.